Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UFS Liberty and watched the stars through the massive viewing window. His coffee had grown cold hours ago, but he did not care. The emergency message from the Galactic Council had arrived 3 hours before and changed everything for humanity. Commander Lisa Carter walked up to him with a data pad in her hands. Her face looked worried and tired. She had been working all night to understand what the alien message really meant for Earth and all the human colonies. "Sir, the numbers are not good," she said quietly. "The 3 alien empires have joined together against us. The Karathi Empire has 3,000 warships. The Vex Confederacy has 2,500 ships with their advanced technology. The Zephyrin Dominion brings 2,500 more vessels with weapons we have never seen before." Morrison nodded slowly. He had expected this day would come eventually. Humans had been expanding into space for over 200 years. They had built colonies on dozens of worlds and established trade routes across 3 star systems. But they had always known that older alien races watched them with growing concern. "What about our fleet?" Morrison asked, even though he already knew the answer would not be encouraging. "We have 200 ships total. Most of them are patrol vessels and cargo haulers with basic weapons. Only 45 ships can really fight against military targets. The aliens have better shields, better weapons, and much more experience in space battles." The communication system beeped with an incoming transmission. Morrison pressed the button to accept it. The image of 3 alien beings appeared on the main screen. General Korth of the Karathi Empire looked like a giant lizard covered in metal armor. Admiral Zex 9 of the Vex Confederacy appeared as a floating crystal formation that glowed with inner light. High Strategist Veltar of the Zephyrin Dominion resembled a tall, thin insect with multiple eyes and sharp claws. "Humans." General Korth spoke first. His voice sounded like grinding rocks. "The Galactic Council has reached a decision about your species. You have expanded too far and too fast. Your colonies threaten the natural order of space." Admiral Zex-9's crystal body flashed, different colors as it communicated. "Your technology is primitive, but you reproduce quickly and spread like a virus. This cannot continue." High Strategist Veltar clicked his claws together. "We offer you one chance to avoid complete destruction. Abandon all colonies beyond your home system within 72 hours. Return to your small blue world and stay there forever. Refuse and we will eliminate every human in space." Morrison felt his jaw tighten but kept his voice calm. "And if we agree to your terms, what guarantee do we have that you will leave Earth alone?" The 3 aliens looked at each other. General Korth laughed, which sounded like rocks falling down a mountain. "You are in no position to ask for guarantees, human. Accept our generous offer or face the consequences." The transmission ended, and the bridge fell silent. Morrison turned to Carter, who was already working on her datapad. Several other officers gathered around them waiting for orders. "Get me President Brooks on the secure channel," Morrison said. "Also contact Dr. Emma Walsh on Europa. Tell her we need to discuss Project Lazarus immediately." Carter looked surprised. "Sir, that project is still theoretical. The scientists said it might work in perfect conditions, but we have never tested it on such a large scale." "Perfect conditions or not, it might be our only option," Morrison replied. "Send encrypted messages to all colony governors. Tell them to prepare for emergency evacuation, but do not cause panic among the civilians." Within an hour, Morrison was speaking with President Nathan Brooks from Earth and Dr. Walsh from the research station on Europa. The president looked older than his 60 years, and the stress of the situation showed clearly on his face. "Admiral, the situation is worse than we thought," Brooks said. "Our intelligence sources report that dozens of other alien species are watching this confrontation. If we show weakness now, every race in the galaxy will see humans as easy targets." Dr. Walsh appeared on a second screen. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes, but her mind was one of the sharpest in human space. "Mr. President, I have been working on Project Lazarus for 15 years. The theory is sound, but the practical application requires precise timing and coordination across multiple star systems." "Explain it simply, Doctor," Morrison said. "What exactly can this project do?" We have been placing quantum field generators throughout human space for the past 50 years. They look like normal mining equipment or communication relays, but they are actually parts of a massive defensive grid. When activated together, they can create localized space distortions. Brooks leaned forward. Space distortions that do what exactly? They create what we call a dimensional pocket. Anything caught inside the field effect gets phased into a parallel space where they cannot affect our reality. They remain conscious and aware but completely powerless to act. Morrison studied the technical data Carter was showing him. How many ships can this effect handle? Theoretically unlimited numbers as long as they are within the field boundaries. But Mr. President, the activation requires our ships to be in exact positions. If we are even slightly wrong, the effect could phase our own vessels instead of the enemy. The President was quiet for several minutes. Finally, he spoke. Doctor, how long do you need to prepare the system? The generators are already in place. I need 48 hours to run final calculations and coordinate with research teams on 12 different worlds. But sir, this plan requires our fleet to appear weak and frightened. The aliens must believe they are winning until the very last moment. Morrison nodded slowly. I understand. We need to make them think we are running scared while we position our ships exactly where you need them. Correct. Admiral, your ships must follow precise flight paths that will look like random panic to the aliens, but are actually complex positioning protocols. One mistake, and the plan fails. Brooks made his decision. Do it. Admiral Morrison, you have full authority to implement Project Lazarus. Dr. Walsh, you have unlimited resources and priority access to all research facilities. As the communications ended, Morrison looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, 8,000 alien warships were preparing to destroy everything humans had built in space. But humanity had one advantage the aliens did not know about. They had been preparing for this day much longer than anyone realized. General Korth stood in the command center of the massive dreadnought Eternal Conquest and felt satisfaction flow through his armored body. Around him, dozens of Karathi officers worked at control stations while holographic displays showed the positions of every ship in the combined alien fleet. Admiral Zex-9 materialized beside him in a shower of light particles. The Vex Confederacy leader's crystal form pulsed with different colors as it communicated. The human fleet movements are exactly as we predicted. They show all signs of panic and disorganization. High Strategist Veltar clicked across the metal floor on his sharp legs. His multiple eyes focused on the tactical displays while his claws gestured at specific human ship formations. Look at these flight patterns. Random and desperate. They flee like frightened animals before the storm. Korth studied the intercepted human communications that his intelligence officers had decoded. The messages spoke of tactical withdrawal and asymmetric positioning, but he recognized these terms as fancy words for running away. Their Admiral Morrison thinks he can fool us with military language, but fear smells the same in any species. The three alien leaders had spent the past day monitoring human fleet movements and intercepting radio transmissions. Every piece of evidence showed that humanity was preparing for a chaotic retreat toward their home system. Captain Roy Henderson of the UFS Defiant had sent multiple distress signals requesting emergency evacuation ships for civilian colonies. Their ship, the Defiant, transmitted coordinates for refugee pickup points, Zex-9 reported. The humans are abandoning their outer colonies and concentrating all population centers near Earth. This confirms their complete surrender of all territory beyond Sol system. Veltar accessed the latest intelligence reports with rapid claw movements across his control interface. Our scouts report that human vessels are fleeing the mining facilities in the asteroid belt. They leave behind valuable equipment and supplies. Only a species in complete panic abandons resources so carelessly. On Europa, Dr. Emma Walsh worked frantically in her hidden laboratory, while the alien fleet advanced toward human space. She coordinated with research teams across 12 different worlds through encrypted quantum channels that the aliens had not yet learned to decode. Her calculations required perfect precision, and she had less than 30 hours to complete the final preparations. Dr. Rodriguez, are the field generators in the Centauri system ready for activation? She asked through the communication system. All quantum resonance devices are operational and standing by, came the reply from Alpha Centauri. The mining platforms show normal activity to any scanning equipment, but the hidden generators are fully charged. Walsh checked her master list of generator locations. Over the past 50 years, human colonists and mining operations had placed 847 quantum field devices throughout space. Each one appeared to be normal equipment like communication relays or mineral processing units. The aliens would never suspect that humanity had been building a massive defensive grid for decades. Captain Roy Henderson received his new orders from Admiral Morrison and smiled grimly. His ship, the Defiant, would lead a squadron of vessels in what appeared to be a panicked retreat, but was actually a complex dance designed to position ships at exact coordinates. The aliens would see random flight patterns, but every movement served a specific purpose. Navigator, set course for coordinates Alpha 7, Henderson ordered. Make it look sloppy and desperate. I want our engine signature to show maximum burn like we are running for our lives. The navigation officer nodded and began inputting commands that would make their ship appear to flee in terror while actually moving toward a precise position in space. Henderson had practiced these maneuvers for months without knowing their true purpose until now. Back on the Eternal Conquest, General Korth received reports from his forward scouts. Sir, the human defensive positions are collapsing. Their ships flee before our advance forces even come within weapon range. Some vessels are broadcasting surrender requests. Korth felt the satisfaction of victory approaching. As expected, humans are emotional creatures who break under pressure. Their expansion into space was an accident of luck, not strength. Now they face real warriors and show their true nature. Admiral Zex-9's crystal body flickered with patterns of amusement. Our intelligence analysis of their military doctrine shows heavy reliance on defensive strategies. They have never fought a real war against superior opponents. Their tactics are untested theory. The aliens had intercepted human transmissions, discussing something called quantum tunneling escape routes and dimensional fold protocols. Their best scientists had analyzed these communications and concluded they were impossible with current human technology. The terms appeared to be attempts at psychological warfare or desperate bluffs to buy time. Their scientists speak of manipulating space-time as if they possess knowledge equal to our own, Veltar observed. But our analysis shows human physics understanding is centuries behind our achievements. They cannot create the energy fields required for dimensional manipulation. Dr. Walsh received confirmation signals from research stations throughout human space. The quantum field generators were charging to full capacity while maintaining their disguised appearances. Colonial mining ships continued normal operations while secretly activating powerful energy systems hidden within their cargo holds. All stations report ready status. Her assistant, Dr. Kevin Miller, announced. The quantum resonance grid shows perfect alignment across all 3 star systems. We can initiate the field effect at any time. Walsh studied the tactical display showing positions of both human and alien fleets. Everything depended on the enemy, advancing into the exact area where her generators could create the dimensional pocket. If the aliens stopped too early or changed course, the entire plan would fail. Dr. Walsh, we are detecting massive energy signatures from the approaching alien fleet, Miller reported with concern in his voice. Their combined firepower could destroy every human colony in less than 6 hours. I know, Walsh replied quietly. But we only get one chance at this. The field generators can only create one-dimensional pocket before they burn out. Miss this opportunity and humanity loses everything. The alien fleet continued its advance while their leaders celebrated the approaching victory. General Korth had already begun planning how to divide human territory among the 3 empires. Admiral Zex-9 calculated the resources that could be extracted from abandoned human colonies. High Strategist Veltar prepared reports for the Galactic Council, describing the efficient elimination of the human threat. None of them suspected that every human ship movement and every desperate transmission was part of a plan 50 years in the making. They saw weakness and panic where patience and precision actually controlled every detail. The alien armada moved through space like a metal storm cloud advancing toward Earth. General Korth watched from the bridge of the Eternal Conquest as 8,000 warships maintained perfect formation across millions of cubic kilometers of space. The Combined fleet represented the greatest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Admiral Morrison coordinated the human retreat from his position on the UFS Liberty. His tactical display showed friendly vessels falling back toward the inner solar system while maintaining what appeared to be desperate defensive patterns. Every human ship captain had received detailed movement orders, disguised as emergency evacuation procedures. All units continue withdrawal pattern Delta 7, Morrison announced over the fleet communication channel. Maintain maximum speed toward Bay, Earth defensive perimeter. Do not engage enemy forces under any circumstances. Captain Roy Henderson piloted the UFS Defiant through a complex series of turns and acceleration burns that looked like panicked evasive action. His navigation computer showed the real purpose of these movements as precise positioning requirements for Project Lazarus. The ship needed to reach exact coordinates at specific times to avoid the quantum field effect. Captain, we are receiving pursuit from 3 Karathi destroyers, his tactical officer reported. They are gaining on our position and will be within weapon range in 12 minutes. Henderson checked his navigation display. Perfect timing. Initiate emergency burn sequence and transmit distress signals on all frequencies. Make it sound like we are terrified and running for our lives. The Defiant's engines flared brighter as Henderson pushed the ship to maximum speed. The pursuing alien vessels would interpret this as desperate flight, but Henderson was actually moving toward a predetermined position in space where hidden quantum generators would protect his ship from the dimensional effect. Colonel Danny Pierce led a squadron of 20 fighter craft through the asteroid belt, while alien scouts tracked their movements. His pilots performed elaborate maneuvers around mining platforms and cargo ships that appeared to be chaotic retreat patterns. In reality, every turn and acceleration served to activate quantum field generators hidden within the space debris. Squadron. Leader, the aliens are closing fast, Pierce's wingman reported over the communication channel. Multiple contacts approaching from 3 directions. They have us surrounded. Pierce smiled inside his helmet. Copy that, Blue 2. All units execute. Scatter pattern Alpha and head for the rally points. Look scared and keep broadcasting emergency signals. The human fighters separated and fled in different directions, while their engine signatures showed maximum power burn. The alien pursuers followed eagerly, expecting easy kills, but the fighters were actually moving to specific coordinates where they would be protected when Dr. Walsh activated the quantum field trap. Dr. Walsh monitored the positions of both fleets from her laboratory on Europa. Her master control display showed the locations of all 847 quantum field generators throughout human space. Each device appeared to be normal equipment to any alien scanning technology, but together they formed the largest energy manipulation system ever constructed. Dr. Miller, are all research teams ready for final activation? Walsh asked her assistant. Confirmed, Doctor. All stations report full power levels and perfect quantum resonance alignment. The dimensional field generators can create the pocket space on your command. Walsh studied the tactical display showing alien fleet positions. The enemy ships had advanced exactly where her calculations predicted they would go. Decades of studying alien military doctrine and psychology had allowed human scientists to predict their attack patterns with remarkable accuracy. General Korth received reports from his forward commanders as the human fleet continued its retreat. Sir, our scouts report that human vessels are abandoning defensive positions throughout the system. Their mining operations show signs of hasty evacuation. Equipment and supplies left behind indicate complete panic. Excellent, Korth replied, with satisfaction. Order all units to accelerate pursuit. The humans cannot escape to their homeworld. We will destroy their fleet before they reach Earth orbit. Admiral Zex-9 analyzed the human fleet movements through advanced tactical computers. Their escape vectors are poorly planned and inefficient. Multiple vessels follow overlapping flight paths that create confusion and collision risks. This confirms their complete breakdown of military discipline. The aliens had no way to understand that the seemingly random human ship movements were actually precise positioning protocols. Every vessel needed to reach exact coordinates to remain outside the quantum field boundaries when the trap activated. The appearance of chaos masked perfect mathematical precision. High strategist Veltar coordinated the alien advance through His command interface. Deploy forces to surround the human fleet. Cut off their escape routes to Earth. We will capture their ships intact and interrogate the survivors about human colonial resources. The three alien commanders felt certain of victory as their massive fleet closed the distance to the retreating humans. They had intercepted more desperate transmissions from Admiral Morrison, ordering his ships to implement quantum tunneling escape procedures and dimensional fold protocols. Their scientists had analyzed these communications and dismissed them as impossible fantasy. Captain Susan Blake commanded the UFS Sentinel as it fell back toward Mars orbit. Her orders from Admiral Morrison required her ship to reach a specific position near the red planet at exactly the right moment. The timing had to be perfect or the quantum field effect would phase her vessel along with the enemy fleet. Navigation confirm our arrival time at coordinates Tango 6, Blake ordered. We will reach position in 17 minutes, Captain. Alien pursuit forces will arrive in the same area approximately 3 minutes later. Blake nodded. Excellent. Transmit final distress calls and prepare all systems for emergency shutdown. When I give the signal, cut all power, except life support and emergency communications. Dr. Walsh received confirmation signals from human ships throughout the solar system. Every vessel had reached its assigned position or would arrive within the required time window. The alien fleet was advancing directly into the center of her quantum field grid, exactly as predicted. All stations report ready for activation, Dr. Miller announced. Human fleet positions confirmed safe. Enemy forces are within optimal field boundaries. Walsh placed her hand on the master control activation switch. 50 years of preparation and planning had led to this single moment. The quantum field generators had been positioned during routine mining and colonization operations, while the aliens remained unaware of their true purpose. This is Dr. Emma Walsh to all stations, she announced over the secure communication network. Project Lazarus activation in 60 seconds. All personnel prepare for quantum field initialization. Admiral Morrison received the signal from Dr. Walsh and opened a channel to the entire human fleet. All units, this is Admiral Morrison. Execute Protocol Omega immediately. Cut all non-essential systems and maintain radio silence until further orders. Throughout human space, 200 ships suddenly went dark as their crews shut down engines and weapon systems. To alien sensors, the human fleet appeared to have suffered simultaneous power failures across all vessels. The aliens interpreted this as final proof of human technological inferiority and system breakdown under pressure. General Korth laughed as his sensors showed the human ships going offline. Their primitive technology fails them at the critical moment. Advance all units and prepare to board the disabled vessels. The alien armada accelerated toward what they believed were helpless human ships. 8,000 warships moved in perfect formation toward the center of Dr. Walsh's quantum field grid. In less than 2 minutes, the greatest military force in galactic history would discover that humans had been preparing for this encounter much longer than anyone realized. Dr. Emma Walsh placed her finger on the activation control and watched the tactical display showing 8,000 alien warships advancing toward the center of her quantum field grid. 50 years of secret preparation had led to this single moment. Every calculation had to be perfect or humanity would face complete destruction. All stations confirm ready status, Dr. Miller reported from his monitoring station. Quantum field generators show maximum power levels across all 3 star systems. Human fleet positions verified safe from dimensional effect. Walsh took a deep breath. Execute Project Lazarus. Activate quantum field grid now. Across human, Space 847 hidden generators that had disguised themselves as mining equipment and communication relays suddenly released stored energy that had been building for decades. The quantum fields they created were invisible to normal sensors, but they began warping space-time in ways that alien science had never encountered. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of the UFS Liberty and watched his tactical display as the alien fleet closed to optimal firing range. The enemy ships were exactly where Dr. Walsh needed them to be. Every human vessel had followed precise positioning protocols to remain outside the quantum field boundaries. Captain Blake, this is Admiral Morrison, he transmitted to the UFS Sentinel. Execute full spectrum withdrawal on my mark. All units prepare for Project Lazarus activation. Captain Susan Blake received the signal and felt her heart racing. The phrase full spectrum withdrawal was the final code word that would trigger the quantum field trap. She looked at her crew who were waiting tensely at their stations. All hands brace for dimensional field activation, Blake announced over the ship's communication system. This is what we have been preparing for. General Korth watched from the command bridge of the Eternal Conquest as his massive fleet surrounded the apparently disabled human ships. Victory was only minutes away, and he felt the satisfaction of conquest flowing through his armored body. The humans had proven to be exactly as weak as he had predicted. Sir, our forward scouts report that human vessels are showing minimal energy signatures, his tactical officer announced. Their ships appear to be suffering complete system failures. We can board them at will. Korth nodded with approval. Order all units to prepare for capture operations. We will take their ships intact and interrogate the crew about human colonial resources and defensive capabilities. Admiral Zex-9 materialized beside Korth in a display of crystalline light patterns. The human fleet is completely helpless. Their primitive technology has failed them at the critical moment. This confirms our analysis that they lack the ability to fight a real war. High Strategist Veltar clicked across the command deck on his sharp legs. His multiple eyes focused on the tactical displays showing alien ships surrounding the human formation. Deploy boarding parties to secure the human command vessels. Priority targets are their Admiral Morrison and any scientific personnel. At that exact moment, Dr. Walsh activated the master control system on Europa. The quantum field generators throughout human space synchronized their energy output and created a localized spacetime distortion that encompassed a volume larger than most solar systems. The effect was instantaneous and absolutely devastating. The 8,000 alien warships simply vanished from normal space. One moment they were advancing in perfect military formation, and the next moment they had disappeared completely. No explosion, no flash of light, no energy signature. They were simply gone as if they had never existed at all. Admiral Morrison watched his tactical display as 8,000 red contact symbols representing enemy ships suddenly winked out of existence. The space where the alien armada had been was now completely empty except for the human vessels that had positioned themselves outside the quantum field boundaries. "My God," whispered Commander Lisa Carter from her station. It actually worked. The entire alien fleet just disappeared. Morrison opened a communication channel to Dr. Walsh on Europa. "Doctor, this is Admiral Morrison. Confirm status of Project Lazarus activation. What is the condition of the enemy fleet?" Walsh's voice came through clearly. "Admiral, the quantum field effect is stable and contained. All alien vessels have been successfully phased into the dimensional pocket. They are conscious and aware but completely unable to interact with our reality." Inside the dimensional pocket, General Korth suddenly found himself in a strange gray space where the normal laws of physics seemed different. He could see his own ships and crew around him, but everything felt wrong. When he tried to activate his communication systems, nothing happened. "What is happening?" Korth demanded of his tactical officers. "Why have our systems stopped responding? Where are the human ships?" Admiral Zex-9 attempted to analyze their situation with his advanced sensors but received no useful data. His crystalline form flickered with confusion patterns as he tried to understand what had occurred. "Our instruments detect no energy signatures outside this area. It is as if the rest of the universe has ceased to exist." High Strategist Veltar used his multiple eyes to examine their surroundings. The space around them appeared normal, but he could sense that something fundamental had changed. "This location does not correspond to any known region of space. Our navigation systems show no reference points." Dr. Walsh monitored the dimensional pocket from her laboratory and confirmed that the quantum containment field was operating exactly as designed. The alien fleet existed in a parallel space where they could observe normal reality, but could never affect it again. They would remain conscious and aware, but completely powerless. Dr. Miller verified that the containment field is self-sustaining. Walsh instructed her assistant, "The aliens must not be able to find any way to escape or communicate with the outside universe." Miller checked his monitoring equipment. "Confirmed, Doctor. The dimensional pocket is stable and requires no additional power input." The quantum field boundaries are absolutely secure. Nothing inside can break through to normal space. Captain Roy Henderson aboard the UFS Defiant received new orders from Admiral Morrison. All units resume normal operations and begin security. Patrols of the area. Monitor for any signs of dimensional field instability or alien escape attempts. Henderson looked at his crew who were staring in amazement at their sensor displays. You heard the Admiral. Bring all systems back online and establish patrol patterns. The immediate threat is over, but we need to remain alert. General Korth continued trying to contact his fleet commanders, but received no response from any communication system. Slowly, the terrible reality began to dawn on him. The humans had somehow trapped the entire alien armada in a place where they could see but not act. The human scientist spoke of dimensional manipulation. Veltar remembered. Our analysis dismissed their claims as impossible, but perhaps we underestimated their capabilities. Zex-9's crystal form pulsed with patterns of growing concern. If the humans possess technology to create dimensional prisons, then they have been planning this trap for much longer than we realized. Their apparent weakness was deliberate deception. Dr. Walsh received reports from monitoring stations throughout human space. The quantum field generators had performed perfectly and created exactly the type of dimensional pocket that her calculations had predicted. The alien threat had been eliminated without firing a single shot or losing a single human life. The 8,000-ship armada that had threatened to destroy all human colonies now existed in a gray parallel space where time moved slowly and escape was impossible. They could watch the universe continue around them, but they would never again be able to threaten any species or conquer any worlds. News of the alien armada's disappearance spread across the galaxy faster than light through quantum communication networks. Within hours, every spacefaring civilization had received reports that humanity had somehow eliminated 8,000 warships belonging to the three most powerful military empires without firing a single weapon. President Nathan Brooks stood before the United Earth Assembly in New Geneva and prepared to address not only humanity, but every alien species that would be monitoring this transmission. The speech he was about to give would reshape the balance of power throughout known space. Citizens of Earth and representatives of all galactic civilizations, Brooks began. Today, humanity has demonstrated that we will not be intimidated or conquered by those who mistake patience for weakness. The combined fleets of the Karathi Empire, the Vex Confederacy, and the Zephyran Dominion came to destroy our colonies and enslave our people. They have learned that humans plan for the long term. Ambassador Tracy Morgan sat in the emergency session of what remained of the Galactic Council. The chamber that had once housed representatives from dozens of major civilizations now held mostly smaller species who had survived by avoiding conflicts with the three great empires. The mood in the room was a mixture of shock, fear, and cautious hope. The human representative will now explain what has occurred to the missing armada, announced Councillor Vex of the Altarian Federation. The small blue-skinned alien had always been friendly to humans, but now looked at Tracy with newfound respect. Tracy stood and activated a holographic display showing the quantum field equations that Dr. Emma Walsh had developed. Honored counselors, for the past 50 years, humanity has been placing defensive systems throughout our territory. What appeared to be routine mining and colonization was actually the construction of the largest defensive grid ever created. Admiral Jake Morrison received reports from patrol ships throughout human space. Captain Roy Henderson had confirmed that the dimensional pocket containing the alien fleet was stable and secure. No energy signatures suggested possible escape attempts, and the quantum boundaries showed no signs of weakening. Admiral, we are receiving communication requests from 47 different alien civilizations, Commander Lisa Carter reported. Most are requesting immediate diplomatic contact and trade agreements. Several are offering to share advanced technology in exchange for protection guarantees. Morrison nodded thoughtfully. Route all diplomatic requests to Ambassador Morgan at the Galactic Council. Military communications come directly to me. We need to establish clear protocols for this new situation. Dr. Walsh worked in her laboratory on Europa, developing the next phase of human technological advancement. The success of Project Lazarus had proven that her theories about dimensional manipulation were correct. Now she could begin research on controlled space-time folding for faster-than-light travel. Dr. Miller began preliminary calculations for Project Hermes. Walsh instructed her assistant. If we can create dimensional pockets for defensive purposes, we should be able to create controlled fold points for transportation. Miller accessed the quantum field research data. Doctor, this could revolutionize space travel. Instead of taking months to reach other star systems, we could travel instantly, across any distance. In the dimensional pocket, General Korth continued his desperate attempts to find an escape route. The gray space around him seemed infinite, but his instruments detected absolutely nothing beyond the boundaries of the trapped fleet. Admiral Zex 9 and High Strategist Veltar had reached the same conclusion through their own analysis. We underestimated the humans completely, Korth admitted to his fellow commanders. Their expansion into space was not random exploration, but careful positioning of weapons we could not detect. Every colony, every mining operation, every trade route served the purpose of building this trap. Zex 9's crystal form pulsed with dim colors of defeat. Our intelligence analysis focused on their military capabilities and ignored their scientific advancement. We assumed their technology was primitive because their ships were less advanced than ours. We failed to consider that they might develop completely different approaches to warfare. Veltar used his multiple eyes to scan their prison one more time. The humans allowed us to intercept their communications and see their tactical plans. Everything we learned was designed to make us confident of easy victory. They wanted us to advance exactly where their trap would be most effective. President Brooks continued his address to the galaxy. Humanity offers peace and cooperation to all species that respect our right to exist and grow. We have no desire to conquer or dominate others. But let this day serve as a warning that any civilization that threatens human lives will face the same fate as the three great empires. The transmission reached every corner of known space and fundamentally changed how alien civilizations viewed humanity. Species that had considered humans to be young primitives now realized that patient planning and long-term thinking could overcome superior firepower and advanced technology. Ambassador Morgan received formal requests for protection from 12 different alien species whose territories had been threatened by the now-vanished empires. The Draxan Republic offered to share their medical technology in exchange for quantum field defensive systems. The Theta Collective proposed joint research projects combining human scientific methods with their advanced manufacturing techniques. Ambassador, we need to be careful about technology sharing, Morgan's aide warned. If we provide dimensional manipulation technology to other species, we could create new threats to human security. Morgan considered this carefully. You are correct, but we also cannot allow fear to make us isolate ourselves. The key is to share defensive technology while keeping offensive applications under human control. Admiral Morrison stood on the observation deck of the UFS Liberty and watched as human colony ships began expanding into territories formerly controlled by the vanished empires. The threat that had hung over humanity for decades was finally eliminated, and new opportunities for growth and exploration stretched across dozens of star systems. Captain Susan Blake received orders to establish patrol routes through the former Karathi territories. Her ship, the UFS Sentinel, would lead an exploration fleet to catalog abandoned alien colonies and assess their suitability for human settlement. The galaxy suddenly seemed much larger and more welcoming. Dr. Walsh received a priority transmission from deep space. The signal was weak and heavily distorted, but she recognized the origin point. It was coming from within the dimensional pocket where the alien fleet remained trapped. Please, came the desperate voice of General Korth. We acknowledge human superiority and request mercy. Our civilizations will agree to any terms you propose. Please release us from this prison. Walsh listened to the transmission and then archived it without responding. The alien commanders would remain conscious in their dimensional prison for as long as the quantum field generators continued operating. They could watch the universe through one-way barriers, but they would never again threaten any species or conquer any worlds. Doctor, should we inform the President about this communication? Dr. Miller asked. Walsh shook her head. The dimensional pocket is designed to be permanent. Those who chose to solve problems through conquest and destruction have learned that some mistakes cannot be undone. Humanity moves forward now without looking back. Captain Roy Henderson led his squadron on patrol through the outer system and marveled at how quickly everything had changed. The space that had been filled with thousands of enemy warships just days before was now peaceful and secure. Human merchant ships were already planning new trade routes through formerly dangerous territories. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest weapon was not advanced technology or superior firepower, but the ability to plan patiently and turn apparent weakness into absolute victory. Other species would remember this lesson for generations to come, as they considered how to interact with the humans who had eliminated 3 great empires without firing a single shot.